You find out that the Kraken doesn't turn up and it just ends up being a small calamari, then don't be disappointed. If Joe Biden wins, you can be sure that he will not want the Republicans to win another election again. They will add 2 more states, which they've been talking about. They will remove the Electoral College. They will pack the courts if they win the 2 Senate seats still up for grabs in Georgia right now. And it's not looking good, guys. It's not looking good. I need to bring you guys back to earth for a second. I'm not giving up, but I need to bring you guys back to earth for a second. This is my fear of a lot of the followers of the show and a lot of Trump supporters. They might be falling into the trap of the Russiagate conspiracy theorists fell into, where they just kept chasing after evidence, but they never ended up presenting any. There's a lot of evidence we're presenting, but I do want to prepare the viewers for a situation where Donald Trump might lose this. And there hasn't been a lot of talk about this from some of the pundits that a lot of the followers of the show might follow. But I do need you guys to understand what a Biden presidency looks like. Just an FYI, Joe Biden, he actually once upon a time, he eulogized a member of the KKK, by the way. he eulogized one of these members who had the rank of Grand Cyclops, which is some ranking. Insane. If Joe Biden wins, you can be sure that he will not want the Republicans to win another election again. They will add 2 more states, which they've been talking about. They will remove the Electoral College. They will pack the courts if they win the 2 Senate seats still up for grabs in Georgia right now. And it's not looking good, guys. It's not looking good. I need to bring you guys back to earth for a second. So in Georgia, there's still 2 Senate seats up for grabs because of some deferred election that happened a couple of months ago and someone retired. So there's two seats there. And that is set to take place on January 5th. As it stands, the Senate has 50 Republicans in, confirmed, and we've got 48 Democrats in. Now, if the Democrats win these 2 seats, they will win the majority in the Senate because Kamala Harris is the tiebreaker. If they get the majority, they can pack the courts, and then Donald Trump's SCOTUS nomineeship.
Well, the upside to that is, let's say the Democrats win and it's 50-50 split with the President of the Senate casting the Vice President casting the deciding vote. Well, that's good for Joe, because that means Joe won't be suicided too soon because they can't afford to remove that president. Maybe. Oh no, they'll just replace Kamala Harris with somebody else to make sure the vote. So maybe it's not so good news for Joe. So Joe's on his way out regardless. He has a life expectancy. Let's say it's just ticking down.
Yeah, because who replaces Kamala Harris? Nancy Pelosi.
Do they appoint a new one?
They have to. Well, I mean,
I know that the Speaker of the House is third in the chain of command if the president falls over.
Oh, you're right. They might appoint.
They might just appoint a vice president.
And that's a funny thing. She can appoint anyone she wants without an election, like Hillary Clinton.
Gosh, that would be surprising, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and you know what, Riccardo? Because they passed this thing where you can get rid of the president if they passed this in October, and I realized this late. Oh crap, they're not passing this thing where you can get rid of the president based on mental issues for Donald Trump. They're doing it for Joe Biden if he wins. So Kamala Harris, because it's triggered by the vice president. The vice president can say, no, he's out of order. The Senate and the House, I think they both vote on it as well, and then they can get rid of him. And then Hillary Clinton becomes vice president, does it to Kamala.
Yeah, your question was, what does a Joe Biden presidency look like? I don't think we're going to find out. I think what we're going to get is a globalist presidency. They're going to achieve their final goal. They had their man in Barack Obama, but now the gloves are off. The Great Reset's kicked in. They're going to go completely nuts, drunk with power, shutting down the country, destroying the economy.
Yeah, lockdowns across the place. They want to do a national lockdown, all 50 states. Last time they had some states, they never closed, Republican states, and they were booming. They never saw job losses. But we do have to look at some of the other appointments. I mean, he's appointing establishment faces. And by the way, this is your fault, progressives. Like, you've got to take some blame. He's appointing all these corporate Democrats. He didn't appoint Bernie Sanders anywhere. He didn't appoint Elizabeth Warren anywhere.
I'm shocked, I tells you, shocked.
John Kerry, that guy's still alive. He ran against Joe Biden a few years ago, a little while ago in the primaries. John Kerry, he was the foreign minister or something, Secretary of State. He's coming back. We've got a national security pick, Jake Sullivan, who said the US should encourage China's rise.
Doesn't this seem to lend truth to what I said earlier about the communist Chinese country, the nation of communist China was created by the American globalists? The evidence is right there, folks. The evidence is right there.
It's insane. The NSA pick, Jake Sullivan, he is clearly tied to the Russia hoax against Donald Trump. What he ended up doing was he was the one that wanted General Flynn's old job, the guy we were talking about before, who just got a pardon after falsely accusing him of colluding with Russia. These are the people, guys. This is the swamp. Joe Biden is getting a massive hose and chucking it into the swamp and filling it up.
But it's never been any different. You go back to the president's, let's start reasonably recent history from Eisenhower on. All of the big names in US politics have been globalist shills from the very beginning. Except Eisenhower wasn't, but he was described unkindly as someone who was one of those people who was impressed by billionaires because he thought if they were a billionaire they must be good at everything, and so he just accepted everything. Under Eisenhower, the communists had a great day penetrating just about every university, every aspect of the government because he was so unaware of what was going on, and so the big names, John Foster Dulles, you name it. They're all communist, globalist rather, shills. Yeah. For decades and decades and decades.
Yeah. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. And like we're going to see the more offshoring of these jobs. You know, Joe Biden, he wants to bring in a $15 minimum wage. That's something Bernie Sanders was fighting for back in 2016. $15 minimum wage, increasing corporate taxation to 30%. So it's up 10%. We've got also he wants to engage in other similar deals to the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which both Joe Biden and Donald Trump were against in 2016. He's bringing that back. All of those things, offshore jobs. If you have to pay higher taxes, you have to compete with overseas markets, so it's unequal, and you also have to deal with more regulation, $15 minimum wage, you're going to lose those jobs.
That's the strategy. That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
It's insane. This is insane.
So that's not insane at all. It is an exquisitely designed and now, if Biden gets in, and well executed plan.
Let's finish these last few points quickly with Joe Biden. He's going to grant amnesty to 11 million illegal aliens. Please note, we don't actually know that it's 11 million. They've been using that statistic for a few decades now. It could be way more illegal immigrants, and some of which voting, because don't forget, guys, in most states, they pretty much, I think they're basically ruled out voting with ID. You need ID for everything, getting a gun, getting a driving license, literally everything. But you don't need to vote when you go vote. You don't need to show your ID when you're voting. That's insane. And we've talked about this in the past. Remember Dr. Robert Epstein, the whistleblower, not the whistleblower, the guy that studies this stuff. In 2016, he said that anywhere from 2.6 to 10.4 million votes were shifted from Donald Trump to Hillary Clinton due to big tech, Google, Facebook, Twitter. Well, this year he said Google shifted a minimum of 6 million votes in 2020. Minimum, guys. And don't forget, Google was their parent company, ABC, whatever, you can look it up, parent company of Google, find it. They were the biggest donor of the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2016. I wonder how much they gave this year. Let's find out. So this psychologist, he using his search engine, he revealed on Tucker Carlson's show that basically 6 million votes were shifted. And it's, you know, if you look into the stats on this, guys, it's very, very scary. And I look forward to hearing him testify before Congress if the Republicans win Congress. But just briefly on that, I don't think the Republicans are going to win the Congress. I think it's looking very bad for them right now. They're going to fight tooth and nail to win these 2 Georgia seats. But if they lose, and I think they will lose, why? Because Donald Trump won't be there.
Sorry, Congress or Senate?
Senate, sorry. Senate. Yeah. So with Senate, guys, as I said before, 2 Georgia seats are up for re-election. And in January 5th, I don't think they're going to win them. Why? Because Donald Trump in 2018, he wasn't there to give the Republicans the boost that they needed, and we saw a slow blue wave, partly due to mail-in ballots, but we saw a slow blue wave nonetheless. Why? Because Republicans, it's the same problems before, guys. The Republicans aren't able to get people out. Donald Trump got 11 million more votes than 2016 because he is not a Republican. I keep saying this. He's not a Republican. He's anti-war. He's lifted black people out of poverty. This year he got 17% of the black vote, 35% of the Hispanic vote. You're not going to get that with normal Republicans. So when you don't have, on election day, when you don't have Donald Trump you're also voting for, you're going to have a situation where they're not going to vote for the Republicans down ballot because Donald Trump's not out there. You won't get them out to vote. And that's the warning I see. And if the Senate goes blue, then we're screwed. I'm just going to put it that way for you. I'm going to be most likely censored, so I'm going to have to go to parlor. But look, this is the reality I need to bring you guys back to earth on. It's not looking good. And I want to teach you guys, you can lose, and this is how. So pretty much the future's in the hands of the Americans right now in terms of a bunch of different things. We've got to sort our crap out in Australia, but this is a reality of America, guys. So when you find out that the Kraken doesn't turn up and it just ends up being a small Calamari, then don't be disappointed, because we heard this week that what was her name? Something Powell, was it? Sidney Powell was finding all this stuff around the place, but the Trump campaign distanced themselves from her this week. Because
no, not really.
You don't think so? You think it's all part of the plan?
No, because she never claimed to be part of the campaign.
You're right.
She kept saying she's working with them, but she is representing the American people and happens to be collaborating with the Trump campaign, but she never said she was part of the Trump campaign.
Yeah.
The Trump campaign never said she was part of the Trump campaign, and they were just clarifying. And now people have leapt on that and said, Trump's sacked. No. She's just a feisty, hard-nosed lawyer who knows exactly what's going on, and she wanted to help. She's one of those pushy types, which is what you need. And she probably barged away and said, I'm going to help you whether you like it or not. And Rudy probably went, okay.
Yeah, okay, I can't. Can I say no?
Yeah, no, can I say no? Exactly. No, so I'm not worried about that in the slightest. That's just... That's just misquoting the situation, and people know that.
No, me too. But I do want to bring it to your attention, guys, because this is a situation where we haven't had any of these court wins come through yet. Now, I'm not talking about the 30 ones that were thrown out of court. Those actually weren't Trump's. They weren't Trump's lawsuits. They were other people's, because you can sue too. Other people can sue, and those 30 or so lawsuits had nothing to do with the Trump campaign. This was other people of their own volition. Trump only has like 3 or 4 out there right now. I think there's one that's been set back, but they're refiling. And don't forget, if it gets set back, it goes to the Supreme Court, okay? So, and that's where you want to be. So patience. We haven't seen a legal success yet, but when it comes through, because don't forget, we did have Pennsylvania, which ended up coming, the vote certification got blocked by a judge there. So that's good. But until we see that, we've got nothing to report yet. We need to see the evidence presented in a court, and we need to see a situation where we see some of these states flip. We haven't seen that yet. So a lot of people are attacking Tucker Carlson and Fox News. Attack them all you want on the legitimate stuff, but until we see some evidence, we can't act like the Russiagate people. I just want to bring you guys back to earth. Last few things. Trump was wealthy before he got elected. He was a billionaire before he got elected. He lost money once he got elected. That's why he paid so little tax in 2016, 2017. Remember that, guys? Yep. I can't say the same for Joe Biden. Joe Biden has a perfect correlation with his career elevation and his family's wealth being created. In fact, when Joe Biden was put in charge of the operations in Iraq, his brother just happened to get appointed to do this massive building project over in Iraq. Isn't that funny?